Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, look at this swarm. This is quite a swarm we have going on here, and it's not in Nevada.
Right, it's moving on. It's moving on. No, I don't know what's going on, but it's quite a swarm.
This is Yellowstone, guys. Yellowstone. And we have 50 quakes here in a 24-hour period in Yellowstone. 581 that are being reported in the last 24 hours by the USGS. So I can't remember seeing a swarm like this. Maybe, I don't know. In Yellowstone, it's been a while. So we have a 3.1, looks to be about the biggest. Most of these, are around 2-ish or a little over, a little under.
A little of this, a little of that. It's just kind of really, really curious.
Yeah, it's quite a swarm. And of course, Yellowstone, as we know, if Yellowstone ever went, then we would all be in big, big trouble, being the super volcano that it is. And quite honestly, I mean, I've been more concerned recently with Long Valley Caldera because of the quakes in Tonopah, or just to the west of Tonopah. So, I mean, when we look at this, you have basically 449 of 581 total earthquakes around the globe in the last 24 hours, pretty much in the western United States. So it is active out there. And we still have this swarm going on. So we see the massive swarm over here, still in the same spot. And up by Mono Lake, we have about 3 or 4 going on there. And then the Mammoth Lake, and this is Long Valley Caldera. You see quite a bit of activity there as well. So, the world is shaking, rattling, rolling, and rocking on many different levels right now.
Yeah, and I've been lightheaded and dizzy like off and on all day today. It's so strange. I'm not sure if it's EMF related or is it Earth related. Is it the sun? What's going on?
Yeah, it could be a combination of different things going on, as I've seen a lot of people in the chat room from today's live, and a lot of the comments are saying the same thing. So out of the Idaho Statesman, we see swarm of earthquakes are rattling the area near Yellowstone, the USGS says. Now this, shows just 11 when this article came out in 24 hours. Now it's up to 50, guys. 50. And let's take a quick peek at the depths now that I think about it. So we see 8.1 kilometers, 5, 4.9, 4.5, 4.8, 5.4, pretty consistent. Between 4 and 6 kilometer depth, a lot of them. So, it's interesting. And of course, being Yellowstone, we will watch this super close.
Oh, yes. When you're babysitting a sleeping gorilla, you watch them really close.
So we see widespread flash floods, claims 4 lives. This is in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. So many deserts have had such tremendous flooding. We're in a dry spell here right now. And we're just going to finally get done with, we had like 5 days that were super intense heat. Super intense. Kind of like the typical worst heat that you're going to get. But that should be breaking, as we've seen floods in so many areas, and there's video here for you as always. Here we see seismic unrest, and this is at T80 volcano, and this is in the Canary Islands as well. And Canary Islands is another area I watch super, super closely, just because of the possibility again of volcanic activity, which could lead to tsunamis, as we've talked about in the past. So here we see in total 70 volcano tectonic quakes hit the area in an 8-hour time frame. The maximum intensity was 2.9. Is there an eruption brewing, perhaps? Well, there's so much going on, and then we see this over here, and we have a first M-class solar flare of solar cycle 25, and so it was a impulsive magnitude of 1.1 at 7:24 UTC on the 29th. And I know my good friend over there at Wagers World was talking about this and others as well, other activity going on. It didn't say this was Earth directed, but it still could affect us depending on exactly how it does, how close it gets, how much of an impact we get from this. But as we've talked about, gosh, it's pick your poison. So a dear friend who's been very, very ill for a very long time reached out to me today. And so hello, Patricia, if you're listening. And I was just telling her, because we were talking about the RI riots, going on, the protests going on, all this going on. And I said to her, please make sure you get yourself a really good generator, which she promised to do, because, you got to be prepared nowadays. And whether it's the sun that knocks out the grid, whether it's WW3 and, an EMP that knocks out the grid, it seems more and more likely at some point in time, and a lot of people are having that feeling, that we're going to lose the grid. So, be as prepped as you can and do what you can, So, one of the things that we wanted to do out on the property was get, a big propane tank, a big one. And the company, there's only like one company in our area, and it's been closed because of the whole CV19 thing. And that just boggles my mind. How could you be closed? It's a utility for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people out in the country that, you rely on propane. But with a big propane tank, at least you will be able to heat and cook in the dead of winter. And, a lot of people that are in the cities and stuff, they're just relying on the grid totally. And maybe they have city water as well. And think of the chaos that could ensue if you don't have any power or any water, and especially if you're in the northern latitudes when the winter comes.
Yeah, do your absolute best to prepare for maybe like 3 days food and water in case they can't get to you. Do something.
Well, remember, the government said 6 months. That was a couple of years ago. They said 6 months. And, I personally took it serious, as, we definitely stockpiled enough rice and beans to get us through that, for sure. But then you got to think long term too, because we could see everything that's going on is adding to the crop losses, the food shortages, the supply chain issues, and of course now when you have so many people taking to the streets and destroying things, it's all gonna just make it worse. There's no way around it. And here we see South Africa, 14 all-time monthly low temperatures fell yesterday. Widespread snow accompanying the freeze. And as we're talking about, it's just records everywhere. Millions of lobsters turn Otago Beach red after digging into the death in New Zealand. Blood red beaches after millions of squat lobsters died in a series of mass strandings. Obviously, there's something really, really wrong with the world, with the ecosystem. We're seeing so many of these mass die-offs, and obviously now it feels almost like beating a dead horse when we're talking about the need for change. People are taken to the streets, for particularly one reason, that there's a need for change in one particular category, or however we want to look at it. But there's so much change that needs to happen, because the system, the way of the world is really messed up. It has to change, because we're in this huge extinction event right now, and there's just chaos everywhere. So it's just another very, very sad thing we see. Millions, just lying there on the beach dead. We've seen birds, fish, you name it. It's just one after another. And we've been talking about this new virus that's killing rabbits all across the U.S. Seems to be getting worse. Infected rabbits may exhibit no symptoms before suddenly dying, or they may suffer fever, swelling, internal bleeding, and liver failure. Now, I was talking about Nostradamus' prophecies and horrible war being prepared in the West and the plague that comes. I mean, it's so easy to see everything kind of manifesting right before our very eyes. And more cosmic things coming by and flying by. Asteroid 2020 KC5 is going to fly by at just under a lunar distance. And then checking in on the Schumann, it's been very, very active as we see here, and calming down a teeny bit. But overall, the Schumann resonance has been a sight to see as well, and setting records on its own as the consciousness of the planet is absolutely changing.
It is changing, and our bodies are changing, our energy fields are changing, our minds are changing, and keep that in mind. Go easy on yourself.
Yeah, we are under so much stress nowadays. Everybody is under so much stress. You have to just, de-stress any way you can. We were talking about it, and we were saying, maybe it'd be good if we just simply turn the phones off for a whole day when we know we don't have anybody that we're doing distance work on, or doing a Vedic chart or whatever, and then just leave them off for like a whole 24 hours, not touch them at all, just get away from them. And that might give you a little bit more mental health. We need to unplug a little bit. At the same time, I feel drawn to it too. Like I have up here right now, something live showing what's going on live, in some areas around the country. Because you kind of can't look away. You just kind of can't look away when you're witnessing history. And this is something huge. This is a time period that's been talked about and, by many different cultures. I mean, pretty much every culture all around the globe has talked about the time period we're in now. And, how can you kind of look away yet? We have to maintain our sanity.
Yeah, you do, but and these days we got to prioritize, and I honestly think to de-stress should be like top priority right now.
Yeah, and at the same time, prepare. How we don't need any more warnings about things to prepare. It's so obvious, so everybody should be as prepared as possible. And I want to thank everybody that is a Patreon, and also everybody that supported us on Ko-Fi for keeping us going. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being part of the family. Stay safe out there. Stay sane. God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.